Hi there, class 11 students. This is your teacher and guide, Mrs. Harpreet Kaur from English Frog Club. And today I've come up with another chapter from the textbook Hornbill for class 11. Today we are going to do the chapter 3, Discovering Tut, the Saga Continues, written by A.R. Williams. So without rumbling here and there, let's proceed straight into the explanation of the chapter right now. He was just a teenager when he died, the last heir of a powerful family that had ruled Egypt and its empire for centuries. He was laid to rest laden with gold and eventually forgotten. Since the discovery of his tomb in 1922, the modern world has speculated about what happened to him, with murder being the most extreme possibility. Now, leaving his tomb for the first time in almost 80 years, Tut has undergone a CT scan that offers new clues about his life and death and provides precise data for an accurate forensic reconstruction of the boyish pharaoh. Now, let's just get the explanation. So, this chapter is about the Egyptian pharaoh who was a teenager and the last heir of a powerful dynasty in Egypt. And that dynasty had ruled Egypt for centuries. So, when he was laden with gold and eventually forgotten, that means when he died, he was put to rest in his tomb, and later on it was forgotten that nobody touched his tomb. Okay. So, his tomb was being discovered in 1922. Okay. And the modern world, as soon as the discovery of his mummy was there, and the modern world, the archaeologists and other people, historians, etc., they tried to find out the reason behind his death. So, they speculated the things that what would have happened to this boyish pharaoh, and the extreme thing that they could think was the murder. And now, after 80 years of the discovery, see, the discovery happened in 1922. Now, after 80 years of the discovery, that means now in 2002. Okay, what was going to happen? What was going to happen was that his remains were is to be taken for CT scan. So, after his death, after the discovery, 80 years after the discovery, children, remember this is 80 years after the discovery only, okay, that CT scan happened because they wanted to know about the mysteries behind it, and CT scan was the best method from which they would come to know what would have happened to this boyish pharaoh. An angry wind stirred up ghostly dust devils as King Tut was taken from his resting place in the ancient Egyptian cemetery known as Valley of Kings. Dark bellied clouds had secluded across the desert sky all day and now were veiling the stars in cascade grey. So, the atmosphere at that time is being talked about here by the writer, that he said that as soon as on that day, the whole day the wind kept on blowing heavily, strongly. The wind kept on blowing strongly, and where King Tut was buried at the time of his death, that particular cemetery is known as the Valley of Kings. So, it became clouded throughout. It's rare that in the deserts, in that area of the desert, rain was cloudy weather was a rare experience. So that day clouds just covered the sky, and the color of the sky became a little grey. It was 6 p.m. on January 2005. The world's most famous mummy glided head first into a CT scan brought here to probe the lingering medical mysteries of this little understood young ruler who died more than 3300 years ago. So now the time is described that it was 6 p.m. on January 5, 2005. So that's CT scan was to happen on January 2005, and it was evening. So throughout the day wind kept on blowing, and the sky converted into dark grey sky with because of it was cloudy that night. So the reason of conducting the CT scan is discussed here, that because the scientists, the archaeologists and historians wanted to know about the mysteries behind his death, and this pharaoh died 3300 years ago. So these are a few information that is given in this particular paragraph. Children, this is a factual piece of writing, so we need to understand the facts, and this way only we will be able to understand about the chapter. As it's not a fiction, there is no storyline in it, only the facts are being gathered, and as each and every paragraph progress, we need to we'll come to know about certain facts, and we will be remembering those facts for our examination to answer the questions. Now let's move further and see what other facts are provided to us. So the same day is been talked about here of the CT scan. What happened during the afternoon, that is being discussed in this paragraph. Now let's read. All afternoon, the usual line of tourists from around the world has descended into the cramped, rock-cut tomb some 26 feet underground to pay their respect. They gaze at the murals on the walls of the burial chamber and peered at Tut's gilded face, the most striking feature of his mummy-shaped outer coffin lid. Some visitors read from guidebooks in a whisper. Others stood silently, perhaps pondering Tut's untimely death in his late teens, or wondering with a shiver if the pharaoh's curse, death or misfortune falling upon those who disturbed him was really true. So in this particular paragraph, it is described that the whole afternoon there was a great rush of people, of visitors in that tomb. So who had come? There were a lot of tourists. So some tourists had come to gaze at the murals. They gazed at the murals. They enjoyed the art that was depicted on the walls of the burial chamber, and they also looked at the gilded face, that golden face of Tut, and the most astonishing feature, that was the mummy shaped outer coffin lid. Okay, so the coffin lid was cut into the shape of mummy. That was really surprising for them. And some of the visitors, see now the second thing is been described here, that some of the visitors read from the guidebooks in a whisper. Slowly they kept on talking among themselves, and they stood silently on perhaps pondering over the death of the pharaoh in the late teen. And they were also wondering, because it is believed in Egypt that if the pharaoh, if the king is disturbed in his burial chamber, then some kind of misfortune or curse would fall upon them. So some were quite excited to see, and they were really scared also. They feared that some curse might fall on the people who are doing all these things, or the visitors who are. So some of them were there for this reason also. Let's look what facts and description we have about the mummy in this paragraph. The mummy is in very bad condition because what Carter did in 1920s, said Zahi Hawass, Secretary General, Egyptian Supreme Council of Antiquities, as he leaned over the body of a long first look, for a long first look. Howard Carter, that is, was British archaeologist who in 1922 discovered Tut's tomb after years of futile searching. Its contents, though hastily ransacked in antiquity, were surprisingly complete. They remain the richest royal collection ever found and have become part of Pharaoh's legend. Zahi Hawass, the Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, is of the opinion that the mummy was in a quite bad condition because of what Carter did when he discovered the mummy in 1920. So Carter was a British archaeologist and he discovered the tomb after years of futile effort. So he kept on searching from the mummies, and after years and years of effort, he came upon the mummy that belonged to King Tut. So but Zahi Hawass is not of a good opinion about what Carter did to extract the mummy out of the coffin, and whatever was discovered by Carter along with the mummy is still the richest royal collection ever found, okay, and it has also become a part of the Pharaoh's legend. Now let's read further. Stunning artifacts in gold, their eternal brilliance meant to guarantee resecuration, cause a sensation at the time of discovery and still get the most attention. Okay, so now when Carter discovered the mummy, it was not only that mummy there, but it had a lot of things that were buried along with that, and that gave a hint about the afterlife that is still believed in Egypt. So King Tut was also buried with everyday things he had want in afterlife. Board games, a bronze razor, linen undergarments, cases of food and wine. So King Tut was buried not with royal decree, but he also was buried with the everyday things, as he was quite young, and they thought that he might be needing certain games, etc. after his death. So they kept all those things along with the funerary treasure. After months of carefully recording of Pharaoh's funerary treasures, Carter began investigating his 3 nested coffins. Opening the first, he found a shroud adorned with garlands of willows and olive leaves, wild celery, lotus petals, and cornflowers, the faded evidence of burial in March or April. So when Howard Carter had recorded each and everything that he got in the tomb, that he had found in the tomb, he came across the coffin in which King Tut was buried. And the coffin was not just a single coffin, it was 3 nested coffin, a coffin within another coffin and then another coffin. And finally, when he reached the mummy, he ran into a trouble. Oh, he was in a great trouble that he could not think of what to do. When he opened the coffins, he found in the first one, opening the first coffin, he found that the shroud made of garlands, a garland, a big garland, a sheet of garland that was made up of celery, lotus petals, cornflowers, etc. So these kind of flowers indicate that the king Tut died somewhere between March or April, because these flowers are grown during that season. Okay, then further, when he finally, after just moving from one coffin to another coffin, finally reached the last coffin, there was a great trouble for him. So what was the trouble? Let's just find out. The ritual raisins had hardened cementing Tut to the bottom of his solid coffin. No amount of legitimate force could move them, Carter wrote later. What was to be done? So Carter was in a great confusion. Oh, what to do? He wasn't able to think anything. How to get this mummy out of the coffin, because the mummy was just fixed with the coffin because of the ritual raisins that were applied on Tut's body at the time of his burial. And during this time period, more than 3300 centuries later, he discovered his tomb and found out his mummy. And during this period, those ritual raisins had hardened with the coffin, and it was not possible at all to pick up that mummy out of that coffin as it was fixed with that coffin. So Carter was clueless at that time what to do. So he tried to do certain things. Now let's read what were those. Thought of an idea. Oh, it's great desert and the sun shines at its highest in this desert, and he thought that it can melt anything. So he kept the mummy and along with the coffin out in the sun. The sun can beat down like a hammer this far south in Egypt, and Carter tried to use it to loosen the raisins. So let's see whether he was actually able to loosen the raisins by keeping the coffin in the sun for some time. Or he set the mummy outside in the blazing sunshine that heated it to 149 degrees Fahrenheit. Nothing budged. Okay, keeping the mummy at 149 degrees Fahrenheit, nothing happened to the raisins, and the mummy could not be taken out of that coffin. He reported with scientific detachment that the consolidated material had to be chiseled away from beneath the limbs and trunks before it was possible to raise the king's remains. So he wrote in his report that it wasn't easy, it wasn't at all possible to raise the mummy from the coffin. So he had to chisel out. Chisel out means he had to cut that coffin away. So in his defense, let's read further. In his defense, Carter really had a little choice. If he hadn't cut the mummy free, thieves most certainly would have circumvented the guards and ripped it apart to remove the gold. So Carter wrote in his defense that if he would have not cut the mummy, then as the mummy was buried with great many ornaments, gold, and the coffin itself was of gold. So he defended his case by writing in his report that he did all this to save the mummy from being taken away by thieves. Anyone could have circumvented, give bribe, etc. to the guards to take away some gold from that particular treasure. So Carter said in order to save the mummy, so he did all this. So in order to take out the mummy out of that coffin, Carter's people just severed every joint. So Carter's men removed the mummy from head and they cut from every joint, and in this way they reassembled the mummy once again, because the whole coffin and the king's body was covered with ornaments, and in this way he had done, according to Zahi Hawass, he had severed every major joint of the mummy. After just taking out all the joints, then they reassembled the remains on the rear of Saint in a wooden box with padding that concealed the damage. The bed where Tut now rests. So after just removing the gold and gold etc., and then they reassembled the mummy, and that is where the King Tut's body is resting nowadays. That's all in this part of the video. Explanation of the chapter Discovering Tut, the saga continues. We'll meet in the next part and find out what happened with Tut's body when it was being taken to the CT scan. See you in the next video with the rest of the chapter explanation. Bye for now.